I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in a world of cold beer in my hand. Life is good today. Life is good today. Well, a plane touched down just about 3 o'clock, and the city's still on my mind. Bikinis and palm trees danced in my head. I was still in the baggage line. Concrete cars will be on prison bars like this life I'm living in. But the plane brought me farther. I'm surrounded by water and I'm not going back again. I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in a world of cold beer in my hand. Life is good today. Life is good today. Adios and bye con Dios. Yeah, I'm leaving GA. And if it weren't for tequila and pretty senoritas, I'd have no reason to stay. Adios and bye con Dios. Yeah, I'm leaving GA. Gonna lay in the hot sun and roll a big fat one and grab my guitar and play. 4 days flew by like a drunk Friday night as summer drew to an end. They can't believe that I just couldn't leave, and I bid adieu to my friends. Cause my bartender, she's from the islands. Her body's been kissed by the sun. Coconut replaces the smell of the bar, and I don't know if it's her or the rum. I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in a world of cold beer in my hand. Life is good today. Life is good today. Adios and bye con Dios. A long way from GA. Yes, and all the muchachas, they call me Big Papa. When I throw pesos their way. Adios and bye con Dios. A long way from GA. Someone do me a favor and pour me some Jaeger, and I'll grab my guitar and play. Adios and bye con Dios. Going home now to stay. The senoritas don't care when there's no dinero. I got the money to stay. Adios and bye con Dios. Going home now to stay. Just gonna drive by the lake. Put my ass in a lawn chair, toes in the clay. Not a worry in a world of PBR on the way. Life is good today. Life is good today. Pass me a beer, and I'ma keep playing this music that you hear. And if you know the song, then come and sing along with me. Walking with the beach to my left, seat to my right, and I'ma get faded at the tiki bar tonight. Then I'ma rolling up like my name is Bob. Yeah, I'm gonna party like I'm a Jamaican. If you really wanna know where you can find me, I'll be unwinding down in the islands, down in the islands. You should lose track of your timing. can play the steel drums. And if you like to speak, then everybody dance with me. We got the ladies to the left, fellas to the right, and everybody's faded at the tiki bar tonight. And we are gonna dance to the rhythm of the waves while we drink Bacardi by the bonfire flames. If you really wanna know where you can find me,
Oh no.
find me down
Is the
in,
video not working?
down in the islands, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was just, oh,
Find me.
come on, camera adjust. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey,
Friday. My
make sure
co-host bailed on me this morning.
we mention today bind insurance. It might be too late depending on where the storm is, but because there's that storm that's creeping up, so bind insurance if you can, and we'll send an email out today as a reminder.
Good idea. Yeah, just my own personal opinion on that storm. When it hits 45 miles an hour because of tropical storm, is it 45 miles an hour?
Yeah.
It's going to hit land. It's probably going to depreciate from tropical storm to a tropical depression, which
Yep.
should lift the problem. But as real estate people, we should be aware that when there's a storm in the box, if you will, insurance underwriting is suspended. So how do you bind insurance?
Call your insurance provider, ask them to do it, and pay for it.
And pay for it. That's all it is. Oh, mom said it was just named a hurricane.
Yeah, winds were at 60 miles an hour at like 5 a.m. this morning with the 5 a.m. update, and they probably just had another one that updated a little bit.
Let's look. Weather to do. So exciting. The media just loves to get everybody to watch it. Tropical. Where's the tropical forecast? There it is. Tropical weather. Hurricane Elsa. She is a hurricane. And she's going to hit the Lesser Antilles, which is really weird because they usually go that far south. But anyway, we're safe. We're going to have a great Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then Tuesday, we'll start probably feeling some effects if, in fact, she stays a storm and if, in fact, she moves the way they think she's going to move. So don't lose any sleep and don't feel like you need to rush to Walmart and buy water. But you should have water on hand anyway. Cool. All righty. Question and answers. Oh, Nancy's right. 75 miles an hour. And the chat says, oh, here we go. Welcome to hurricane season. Oh, and most importantly today, everybody join with me to wish happy birthday to Lily, my dog. Today is her 10th birthday. Just wanted to say that out there. All righty. We've got a list of things to talk about today. Thomas was going to join me this morning, but he forgot he's got to take his children to school. So there you go. Okay. Contract Friday. There's a lot of contract stuff in here today, but the one I want to talk about right now is assignability. You know, it's just a crazy market. I did an interview yesterday with Zillow, and we were just talking about the market and all this other stuff. And it is crazy. I was telling him about, 52 offers on a house and trying to negotiate, that and how much more work it is for a buyer's agent to get us contract secured and how much more work it is for a listing agent to deal with multiple offers and pissing off everybody that doesn't win. And then we talked about games that are being played and how there are buyers, and we talked about the as-is contract and why the as-is contract is so prevalent, and how we're starting to see a shift in the use of the as-is contract because it's such a wimpy contract that you can do anything you want with it. So I was telling them that buyers are putting in multiple offers on multiple properties so they can, put them under contract and then pick the one they want with no pressure. Because you can write a contract on anything, get it accepted, take your 7-day inspection period and cancel for any reason whatsoever. So there was a case, and one of our agents was involved in this, where a buyer wanted to assign their contract to an LLC, which sounds really good, but it could be a lie. Not that it was, but it could be. So I want to talk about that for a second. So I'm going to switch to my email and find that one. Let's see. Yeah. So when the agent wrote the offer, they checked may not assign this contract. And then they wanted to propose an addendum to say buyer is going to sign the contract to an LLC, which is fine. There's really nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it at all. But a suspicious mind would say, a suspicious mind would say, what is the name of the LLC you're assigning it to? How long does it take to get an LLC signed up? I mean, these kind of things that should be done or something. Proof of who the signers are, see the liability of the current buyer and the LLC funds in the LLC or its managing member. So what this agent was saying was, if I let you assign this contract to a new LLC, then that new LLC's got no assets. So if you don't close, I've got no recourse against you because I assigned it to the LLC. Huh. Good devious thinking, right? Let's see what else we got in here. Yeah, so in this case, the LLC was going to be a California LLC, and it takes 3 to 4 weeks to get it done. So the idea of assigning the contract while under contract means you close once. But if you assign after closing, what are you doing? You're transferring title, which means the title insurance is insuring the seller or the buyer. Now it's got to insure somebody else. You got to do new title insurance or get an updated title insurance. You got to pay doc stamps on the deed again, or you transfer via quitclaim deed, which doesn't transfer the bundle of rights. And Jim Holloway talked about that a couple weeks ago with us. So really, you never want to use a quitclaim deed. So assignability, I just want you to be aware that when somebody wants to make a change to a contract to make it assignable, you want to be a little bit diligent and ask why. And ask these questions because it's really simple. And there's nothing wrong with assignability, please. There's really nothing wrong with assignability at all. So that was it. While I'm talking about that, it doesn't matter whether it's the as-is contract or the residential contract. They both have the exact same clause. But I'm going to encourage you again. You know, agents are sending me these contract clauses that people are putting as attachments to the MLS saying, you know, please follow these contract guidelines. We want the contract on an as-is form. We want it, you know, this, that, and the other, all the conditions they want of their offer because they're jerks. And most of them are saying, I want the as-is contract. And that just bothers me. So we're going to talk about, again, the benefits. Sonia says, I have a tenant who is reluctant for me to take pictures or to send an inspector. I have not given her the 60 days notice as yet. What legal resources do I have? I'm ready to put the property on the market. You have a problem because an uncooperating tenant is a bad situation, right? Most sellers don't want to evict their tenants while they're putting the house on the market because they're going to lose rent. But an uncooperative tenant is basically like not a listing. And the tenant has what's called rights to quiet enjoyment. Is the term that the legal people use, quiet enjoyment. So if her lease does not specifically spell out that the seller has the right to sell the house and she has to be accommodating for showings, then she doesn't have to cooperate with you. She has quiet enjoyment. So you got to be super, super nice to the tenant and probably bank on worst case scenario, giving her 60 days notice and put the house back out. If the contract is month to month now, well, let's face it. Okay. The only reason a seller doesn't want to evict a tenant is because the house could sit on the market for 2 or 3 months and not be sold and then take 45 days to close. They're going to lose 4 months of rent. What's going to happen in today's market? You're going to put the house on the market and it's going to sell quickly. So it's really, if the contract is month to month, I would give them notice now and, you know, maybe give them 60 days if they cooperate with showings. But if they're not going to cooperate with showings, give them 30 days. If they're on month to month, then
isn't month to month 15? Isn't it 15 days for a month to month contract?
I am not positive about that. And then you got to ask, is it really a month to month contract? Or are they at sufferance? The lease is up and they've mutually agreed to go month to month. I'd have to ask more questions about that. Tenant is reluctant for me to take pictures because their personal stuff are going to be on the internet forever and ever and ever. And to send an inspector, there's being difficult. So I would have a conversation with the tenant and say, look, I can make this easy or hard. If you cooperate with me, you can stay until we get the house sold. But if you're not going to cooperate, then I'm going to give you your notice now. And I'd probably have to look at that lease or have an attorney look at that lease to see if it does have any special provisions for it. But if they're on month to month, it means to me that their lease is at sufferance. It's over. So check that out. Oh, okay. So, okay, finish my conversation on the as-is versus the residential. The residential contract can be as effective as the as-is contract as far as not making repairs, right? So you can absolutely 100% put 0% or $0 in the repair limits. So what does that say? That the seller does not have to fix anything, right? But it does make the buyer get a home inspector. It does make the buyer report any defects that are not to standards. It does give the seller the obligation to get estimates of what that cost is going to happen, which shouldn't be necessary because you should have had a listing inspection before you put it on the market. And that's it. So the inspector comes out, finds out there's termites, and it's going to be $750. And the buyer says, I want the termites fixed. And the seller says, sorry, I've got $0 repair limits. I'm not obligated to do that for you. I'm not going to. In which case, either party can pay the difference or either party can cancel. This is such a more powerful clause contract to use for the excuse of not wanting to do any work. Because let's say there's a backup contract for more money and the seller wants to accept the backup, but they already accepted contract number one. So the buyer comes and says, hey, I want to cancel due to termites. It's going to be $750 to tent the house. Pay it or I'm walking. Seller says, walk. I'm not paying it. So now the buyer can say, oh, I guess I'll walk. Or the buyer can say, well, you know what? I don't want to walk because I've got wind that I got this house before it became worth more. So I'll pay the $750 and I'll keep my contract in place. Totally different scenario. Conversely, buyer wants out. It's $0 repair limit. Buyer says, hey, fix the termites or I'm walking. Seller says, no, I'll fix the termites. You're staying in. Keeps deals together. And John, you're correct. So once that disclosure has been made to the seller that he has termites, if buyer number one walks, then he's got to disclose the termites to buyer number two, which means he really shouldn't spend his time doing that anyway, because now he knows he has to disclose. So I like that. Helped an agent this week with a scenario that I think is going to become more prevalent. So there was a house, there's an expensive house, came on the market, and an aggressive buyer came in like on day 2, put a higher than asking price offer in to get the deal done, right? So let me make up some example numbers. Let's say the house is $1.4 million. Buyer comes in at $1.5 million, asks for some concessions, and gets the net down to $1.45 million. We're only asking $1.4 million, so this offer comes in at $1.45 million net, and the seller takes it. Buyer does their inspection, comes back and says, now that I tied it up at higher than asking price, I'm going to retrade and ask the seller for $20,000 in closing costs. So they sent back an inspection addendum saying we waive our inspection rights and seller agrees to pay, $20,000 in buyer's closing costs in prepaids. That's called retrading. So I want you to be careful of a buyer who comes in higher than asking price with their inspections and comes back to retrade after the fact. Now, what are your obligations in a retrade situation? There's no obligation to retrade. You could say no, put the house back on the market and get another buyer come in who was more forthright. All right. But that's your challenge with an as-is contract. So I'm warning you guys. And I don't know what advice to give you when the listing agent demands an as-is contract. The best thing I could say is communicate with them and say, is it necessary that I do an as-is contract? Why? So that's one. All right, this is a common theme that's coming across again and again and again. And I'm sorry that I am the way I am. Well, no, I'm not sorry I am the way I am. But I'm sorry for you that I am the way I am, because I've been doing this for a long time. And I really believe in the code of ethics, and I believe in the franchise, and I believe in supporting our cooperating brokers, and I believe in the code of ethics of the National Association of Realtors, because this is a serious business and we have a lot of responsibility. And it's hard to hold standards when there's so many, and I don't want to make light of new agents, but there's so many new agents. I attended a webinar the other day with Brian Buffini, and he said the average experience of an agent today is down to 8 years. So this is 2021. 8 years ago was 2013. So the average real estate agent has never seen a bad market. Holy cow, that's crazy. The average real estate agent has 8 years of experience, which takes you to 2013, which was the beginning of the boom of the real estate market we're seeing now. So the average agent has never been in a down market, and they don't get it. Markets are tough. And I'm speaking specifically now to commission standards, right? It really irks me to see in the MLS, because I'll try, if I go to my MLS, I've got a column set up that shows me the cooperating broker compensation. I can sort by that column. And the number of 3% co-ops offering out there is unbelievably low, right? So in that Brian Buffini webinar, he was talking about how, so what? The average income of a real estate agent today in this hot market is less than it was 5 years ago. Where's those notes? Brian Buffini. Yeah, we just hit 1.48 million agents. And there's only 900,000 homes for sale in the United States. So there's more real estate agents than there are homes for sale. And some of you are working with 8 or 9 buyers right now. 1.4 more average expertise is down to 8 years. 65% of the industry are women now. 65%. He was talking about, with all the new technology out there, Brian's an old school guy too. And he said, with all the new technology, your Facebook messaging, your Instagram DMs, and all that stuff, the main forms of communication between realtors now and buyers are still text, phone, and email. Even though you can Facebook them, or you can Instagram them, or you can LinkedIn them, or whatever, still by far text, phone, and email are the biggest things. I thought it was kind of old. By far, the majority of real estate agents work for a full service brokerage company. 23% of them work for a graduated commission plan where you do a flat fee and a thing. 15% work for a cap type of company, but the majority of real estate agents work for a company like ours. Here it is. The median income for a real estate professional was $49,000 in 2019. In 2020, it was $43,000. So here we hit a pandemic with all-time sales records, and the average income for a real estate agent went down. How could that be? Prices are going up because commissions are going down, right? If it's a $300,000 house and you get 3%, that's $9,000. If it's a 350 house at 2%, you get $7,000. So you're selling a house for more money for less income, and then you got to work 3 times as hard to get the deal done because you got to compete with everybody else. Average agent in 2019, according to Brian, did 12 transactions. In 2020, it dropped to 10 transactions. So now the average agent is getting less money per check, and they're doing less transactions. So the income's going down. Units are down 20%. Oh, those are my notes from that thing. Okay, so we'll keep talking about that in a minute. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so commissions and standards. So let's just talk about commissions. why are commissions percentage based? It's incentive. A commission is an incentive to pick one house over another. Now, I understand an agent doesn't have control over which house a buyer picks, but an agent does have control over which house a buyer is going to see in many cases, but it also has control of which house a buyer's agent is going to brag about, right? If you're going to show two houses and they're relatively similar, and this one's paying you 3% and this one's paying you 2%, which one are you going to talk more favorably about? Just be honest. Assuming they're similar, you're not going to be dishonest at all. But if the one's paying 3, one's paying 2, and they're very similar, you're going to start talking more favorably at this one if you're normal. Right? So think about that for a second, and then think about your reputation. And, there's a saying in the world that karma is a bitch. Not karma, not our karma, but karma in general is a bitch, and it will remember you. We remember, and we have a guest this morning too. Tarina's going to join us. We remember that Lennar is paying 1%. So here we are working our asses off to get buyers houses. Lennar's got houses, and we got to get 1%. And so anyway, I talked to Tarina. She's going to be our guest in a little bit here. And she says, "No, Craig, it's 1% for the first sale. Then it goes straight to 3% and then to 4% on your third. Challenge is there's no houses." Well, she'll let her talk about that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But anyway, so commission standard. So you're at a negotiation, you're listing a property, and the seller says, "I only want to pay 5%. Okay, I get it. You can do that, 2.5, 2.5. But a lot of our agents are saying, "No, I want 3 and I want to spend 2 on the co-op." And I want you to pause and reflect for a moment, because how do you feel when the listing agent's only offering 2%? Pretty crappy. And then how do you feel when you see the HUD statement and you find the listing agent's getting 3 and only paying you 2? You get a little angry sometimes, right? So let's talk about it for a second. Let's say it's a $350,000 house. What is 1% of 350? 3,500. What is a 0.5% of 350,000? $1,750. I would suggest that the house would get more attention and your reputation would be better to put the house on the market for $351,750 instead of $350. It's not going to get any less showings and offer a 3% commission to the co-op, right? People will be clamoring to show your listings. And they're going to love showing your listings, and you'll take more listings because you're going to have more listings sold. You're going to have happier agents, right? Break it down. Commission is incentive. A 0.5% difference is only $1,750. Raise the price. John, I've seen a $1 co-op, which I think is totally outside of the code of ethics. I mean, that's like just rude. There's a company called Jack Keller. His name is an independent broker, and he will take any listing, put on the MLS for $300, and the seller can pick what they want to offer cooperating compensation. So the seller offers $1, and it's allowed to go on the MLS, and it's there, $1. Sorry, be honest. Tell the buyer, "I'm sorry, this seller does not respect real estate agents. I'm not going to show you this house." Call them directly if you want to see it. "Sorry, I've got standards. I'm not going to do it." And then we have the code of ethics. The code of ethics is, protecting the public, protecting buyers, and protecting your relationship with other agents. And that's the 3 things that we do as realtors, is that we hold ourselves to a standard. And protecting your cooperating broker is important, right? I'll never forget, you heard me say this before, but I was talking to a Keller Williams agent who told me at an office meeting, their team leader said, "Hey, take listings of whatever you can, but when you have a buyer, go sell a Century 21 listing because they always pay 3%. I'm sorry, that's a great reputation to have, right? All right, couple of just repeat things here that are important, because I don't know who's on what days and what they missed and when. But on Tuesday, we had a whole bunch of ideas, and it's hard. I get it. It's hard now. And I'm defending you guys every chance I get. I do a lot of interviews. I do a lot of public speaking, and everybody says, "Oh, real estate's great." I said, "Yes, it is fantastic. We are crushing it." I mean, literally, we're probably up 50% this month over same month last year. That's a huge increase, right? But that's revenue. It's not talking about the effort. So I'm breaking it down. Yes, the business is fantastic, but the effort is 3 times what it was to do what we're doing now. And if you want to argue with me on that, please chime in, because when you're a buyer's agent, my daughter Jessica told me the other day, she wrote an offer, $460,000 house, $200,000 earnest money, $200,000 earnest money. That's almost 50% of the down of the house. No appraisal contingency, no inspection addendum, and an escalation clause up to $90,000 above asking price, and did not win the contract. That wasn't my screen pausing. That was me pausing. How do you lose 90,000 over asking price and you lose with no inspection, no appraisal, and 200 grand down? That's like a pretty solid deal, and it didn't win. And that's what you're finding out there. There's crazy stuff. When you see through John Smith eyes, then you see what John Smith eyes. Start telling people that, because the people from California come and see our stuff at 460. Go, that's cheap. I'll pay, 540. Insane. So anyway, so it's harder now. Buyer side, liquor side, all that stuff. So we talked about ways to win, right? And I think the best advice we get, and I know it's more work, and I understand that a lot of agents, because I had this talk with Jessica, she says, yeah, you call the agent and his voicemail says, due to high call volume, please text me. So you can't even talk to many of the listing agents now because they're so stuck up in their own heads that they don't play the game. So some of the advice I'm going to give you is to build rapport with a listing agent. Lauren, I wrote one for 115,000 over and a 1-week close, 3-day inspection, cash, and lost out. Insane. So what we wrote down was rapport with a listing agent is critical. And I think it was Odus who said, just because they leave a voicemail that says, due to high call volume, please text me, persistence is the key. Keep calling them. Right? If you're doing what we're saying and you're working with your buyer and you're coaching them and counseling them on what they have to do, then you owe it to your buyer to make every effort to find that listing agent. I don't care if you got to DM them or you got to Facebook message them or you got to text them or call them, but get in front of them somehow. Find their schedule, find out when their open houses, go visit, whatever it is. It's that important now because it's insane. So rapport with the listing agent, partnering with the lender is going to become critical. So you and the lender need to team up and maybe even do a joint Zoom call or a joint telemarketing call or conference call where you call the listing agent and say, hey, I just want you to know this is not just the average couple. Paint your picture, talk about how diligent you were with them, talk about how the loan officer is qualified, or he's got their tax returns, he's got their pay stubs. They are totally, basically a non-contingent offer. And just have that conversation and tell the listing agent, if you can get in touch with them, about that story. One of the biggest things we're seeing right now is having rapport with the builder reps. So we're going to have a builder rep on in about, well, Chris, I guess you're monitoring this. Keep an eye out for Tarina Recupero. She's going to join us about 9:15.
Okay.
NOPQRST. Or give me host rights and I'll keep looking for her.
I'll keep paying attention for now so you can
Okay.
go on.
So Tarina Recupero. Lauren, I think you hit it right on the head. I think the agent wanted to double side, especially if the average income is down. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I had this thought, and I don't mean to put it out there, but I think it's possible. When you have 15, 20 offers on a house, how do you know the listing agent actually showed all the offers to the seller? How do you know? There's no, I mean, it's hard. How do you prove it? So I mean, when you're seeing things like $115,000 over asking price and you don't win, the listing agent, I mean, what, they got $100,000 over and they take $15,000 off their commission or something? I don't know. Yeah, good question. I live in an innocent world where things like that don't happen, but they do. So you got to be aware of that. Um, partner with the lender, rapport with the builder's agent. And then I think it was Puma. Mike said, and you've got to build a connection. So you got to use your skills, your DISC to align with the listing agent to make a connection with them so they feel on you. Yes, John, you're right. We can request a signature on page 12 declining. But that doesn't mean you're going to get it. Because most of the agents have only 8 years of experience and don't even know what the code of ethics is. Okay. All right. Switching gears. I'm going to play a little video, not a video. I'm going to share my screen for a moment. And I'm going to talk about something totally off base. But it seems relevant to me right now. So we're going to do it anyway. Zoom, boom, share screen, done. All right. So we like to call ourselves a life betterment company. And this has been of mind for me lately, getting some new life insurance and stuff. And, I live alone and, Lily can't really take care of me if I have a problem and she doesn't know my passwords and shit. So there's an exercise that I did with my Vistage class called the green box exercise. And so Angelique has built this package in this teachable platform, which is amazing to go through. And I want to show you a couple of those things today. But in that teachable platform is something called the green box exercise. I want you to take this all seriously. Chris did a class on this. It's actually his slide. But the idea is, nobody knows what can happen. You can get hit by a bus today and die, right? And if that happens, your heirs are going to be in a wad of mess, right? They're not going to know how to do anything because we all live our little worlds. So the idea is that you have a little green box on the side, and it could be a Google Drive file in today's world. You get a little green box, and everything that's important to you to be known about your life goes in this green box. And all your family knows that, hey, when I die, not if, when I die, there's a green box in my closet or wherever it is. And that has all the instructions I want done. You don't have to share it with them today. It doesn't matter, but you need to have it done. So computer passwords, logins, life insurance, credit cards, passports, birth certificate, any deeds of real estate that you own, any title, all that type of stuff goes into the box. Your will, your power of attorneys, your trusts, your account statements, logins, and passwords to your bank account. How's somebody going to get into your bank account when you're dead? If you got any money in it, who's your financial accountant, financial advisors, accountants, list of trusted advisors? If I died, my attorney's Bob, call Bob, the attorney, and here's his number, and here's my life insurance guy, and here's my financial planner. A list of people to contact in order, call these people. This is what I like my funeral to look like. Kind of morbid, right? Mission statement, what you believe, directives, your values and influences, a final message to your loved ones. Oh, that's a hard one to write. Mementos and instructions, just little things like this make a difference. Business, key employees, 5 most important strengths and weaknesses. So, if I die tomorrow or today, who's going to run the company? Right? That's actually one of the things I'm working on right now. Status of business, financial, public, mission, clear plan for its future, deals in process and how to proceed. I mean, those are just really life-changing things. And this is part of the life betterment concept of this company is living a whole rounded life, right? And, I've seen people die unexpectedly, and then their families are just totally at a loss because they can't even get into the bank account. Right, green box to be a Google Drive. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, cool. Tarina is in the room. Okay. Well, let me see what else I got on my list. I got a lot more on my list. Let me do a couple more things. She's not supposed to be here till 7:15. Oh, there she is. Hello, T. Security box at a bank is a better idea. Could be if it all fits. Yeah, because your green box could be burnt down in a fire if your house burns down. So things like that are kind of crazy. I'm going to do one more of these things, and then we're going to talk about Lennar for a moment. Which is the one I want? I want to do the home concierge because I'm getting excited about this, but I got to find which one it is. Here it is. All right, quick 1 minute video.
Introducing Century 21 Home Concierge, a concierge for life service that helps you manage all your moving and home management needs in one place.
Wow. We're in contract.
Complete all moving tasks with your online dashboard, including finding the right moving companies, filing your change of address without going to the post office, as well as keeping a track of your move with the help of a week-by-week interactive moving checklist. You can even use your concierge on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device.
Alexa, launch Century 21 Home Concierge.
Hi Jess, welcome to your Century 21 Home Concierge. How can I help you today?
Help me find a painter.
Your Century 21 Home Concierge has found free painter your agent Jane Smith recommends. Would you like me to have them call you?
Yes.
Prefer talking to a live human?
Hi, Rocky. I have a question about my internet provider.
Your Century 21 Home Concierge comes with a dedicated concierge that can help with your move and home management, saving you time and money. We can even help with scheduling too. Your service doesn't end with your move. Need a home cleaner after your move or planning a kitchen remodel in the next 6 months or 6 years? Simply call your concierge, access it online through your voice-activated devices or on the mobile app. Century 21 Home Concierge, your concierge for life.
Come on, you got to tell me that's cool stuff, right? So we are going to launch that program with the staff second week in July and with you guys the end of July. So Century 21 has signed a contract with Move Easy and they've white labeled it. So it's going to be Century 21 Beggins Concierge Service. And if you notice in the video, the agent's name and phone number is at the top. So what's going to happen is this program integrates with Dash, which is where we load all of your contracts when we get them. And so once we load it in Dash, it's going to tell Move Easy to start to send an email to you asking you to opt out if you don't want your customer to get it, which is why you wouldn't want that. I have no idea. But then your customer can get assistance with that, with you involved, but you don't have to do anything. Kind of a neat thing. You know, setting up your home is a pain in the ass. You know, just get on hold with your gas provider or your internet provider, sit on hold for 45 minutes. These people do it all with you. That's all they do. And then you get the moving concepts and all that other stuff and insurance providers, whatever you want. And then you as an agent can customize it. If you want to use your painter or your pressure washer or your home inspector, you can load your own dashboard because it'll be totally customizable to you. So here's my challenge. You know, there are 400 of you in the company and about 150 of you are actively engaged in watching what we do. So you guys are going to know this is coming. You'll pay attention to the email when it comes out. But then if you're not one who knows what it is, you're going to start bitching and say, what is this stuff? Blah, 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 blah. So anyway, we're going to talk about these things a lot because we want you engaged and involved when they do roll out, which will be the end of this month for you. Okay, Tarina, you and I spoke yesterday. I heard a nasty rumor that Lennar was going to stop building in Hillsborough County. So I called Dale, and Dale's on vacation. And then I called you, and you said, I haven't heard anything about that. And then you and I talked about a couple other things. And I said, the agents are really pissed that Lennar cut our commissions to 1%. She goes, no, they didn't. Well, they did, but they didn't. So it's 1% on your first sale, right? And then what happens on your second sale?
The first sale, it does hurt, I have to say, is 1% in a calendar year. Second sale is 3%. The next sale in a calendar is 4% and beyond. So any sale after the third one, you're 4%. So I know the initial 1% hit does hurt, but it is, it makes sense. I sold a home I mentioned to you yesterday. One of my top agents that brings every customer to me when he's out showing resale made $28,000 on 2 sales. It's people that we had in the pipeline that we were able to get them a home. So it just makes sense. It's another tool in your toolbox. Why not, make that stop?
So, we hear a lot of agents saying there's no inventory, no inventory, no inventory. Let's talk about that from your world, because what are you seeing? What's Lennar doing?
We have three ways to buy now, Craig. We have inventory. Well, let's go back. Lennar still is the everything included builder. We only release homes that are started. With that being said, with 23 communities, we always are starting homes. So now we have three ways to buy. Occasionally we'll have a home that comes available for inventory. Maybe the customer didn't move forward or cancellations. We always have fallouts. We all do. Second is we have weekly, typically homes that are coming to the reservation list. So if we have a customer that you and I have already met with, I'll bring up my girl Laura, that maybe we've had a couple customers we met. Now we're just waiting for the perfect floor plan, open to communities. We've already set up what we're going to do next. They're pre-qualified. So when these homes come available, I can request one to be put in their name as a VIP. If we get that, we have a future date when that home is released to them. On that date, they have a choice. Customer has something set aside for them. You can continue to show them homes. I don't know why you would, but at least you have a home set aside, and maybe say July 30th, that home comes released to them. They can get the final price. They can move forward if they decide to. If not, it goes back to the open market. So that's our second way to buy. The third way is highest and best bid homes that are released to us. Can't tell you weekly, but I know the day that they come available, I can let the agents know which homes they are. And then we have 2 days to make an offer, and they take the highest and best bid.
So do they give you a starting price, or do you just have to make it up?
They do. They do give us a starting price.
Okay. So give me an example. What's something absurd you've seen? Like the house is starting at 318.
This is new. We've only had a couple rounds. I haven't seen anything crazy yet.
Okay. So you talked yesterday about how much inventory Lennar is. You said you're starting hundreds of homes a month.
I can't tell you how many homes. I'm not sure if I should, but I know that in my community, Cypress Mill, there's 30 to 40 homes a month starting in there.
Just in that one community?
Just in one community.
Give us a little update on where is Cypress Mill?
Cypress Mill is off of 19th in actually a Sun City. So it's just around the corner from 621 Beggins.
Mm-hmm. And how many units are going to be in there?
It's a large community, over 700 homes, a resort style community with indoor gym, splash park, playground, beautiful boulevard coming in, easy access I-75.
Mm-hmm. And what prices do you start at?
About $270 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,450 square feet. But in the area, we have homes for townhomes starting around $245. So there's something for everybody, Craig, for every budget out there.
Wow. I'm just looking at that 1,400 square feet for 280 or 290. That's like almost $200 a foot.
Yes. And just around the corner in Timber Creek in Riverview, the same homes around 305.
Wow.
Crazy? Yeah.
So what are you seeing? I mean, I've got a saying I've taught the agents, when you see through John Smith eyes, then you see what John Smith buys.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of out-of-towners coming in, and they value our stuff different than we see it. Like we know that, I don't know, pick a model that you have 3 years ago, it was like 225 and now it's 315, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we have this memory that that's a 215 or 275 house, but then somebody from Colorado comes to town to buy a house and they see that house for 315. They go, this is a bargain, because in Colorado it'd be 550, right? So are you saying that same thing with out-of-towners, like seeing more value than local people?
Absolutely. I think sometimes I have to remind myself just that we're holding ourselves back from selling more because that is a low price.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's a great deal.
So I'm in a situation, I've got this one listing I've been playing with for 20 years, and I actually have it listed. I have 5 offers on it right now. Yeah. And everybody's looking to me to say what these lots are going to be worth when they're done. And so I've done some research and I've looked at like a waterfront lots in Apollo Beach. There's only 12 lots for sale in Apollo Beach, period.
Yeah.
Right. And there's been like 40 sales lately in the market. And they've all been those waterfront lots. Even the dumb, crappy lots are selling now. The ones that have been vacant for 30 years and nobody wanted, even those are selling now. So there's almost no inventory. So I'm trying to price these lots, and I got aggressive. I'm saying these lots are going to start at $600,000, and the last sale was 480.
For a
But when you
lot.
factor in scarcity, there's nothing else left. And then you go, and one of my investors is in the property, just sold his house in Culbreth Isles on the water, on the bay, for $7.4 million.
Wow.
And the lot next door to him, which is off the bay, they just knocked that house down and put that lot on the market for $4.7 million. So now I'm starting to wonder if I underprice these things. It's crazy, right? So
Yeah.
what is Lennar telling you about the supply and the lumber shortage and things like that? How are they handling cost? Because we need talking points to explain to a buyer. Plywood now is $75 a sheet at Home Depot.
Yeah, we don't really talk about that, to be honest, Craig. What I have seen though in shortage, we get past one shortage and now you're into something else. Like one of my construction managers a couple of days ago said we can't get interior paint. I'm like, just go to Sherwin-Williams and get it mixed up. He's like, no, it's not there. So it's funny.
Sherwin-Williams and the Texas freeze, the Sherwin-Williams plant is in Texas. So when the freeze happened, the electrical grid shut down, the plant shut down.
Yeah.
And every action has a reaction. So you shut down a paint plant in a booming economy for a month and you fall behind. And that's 100%, that's what happened. I actually read about that.
Interesting.
So even Lennar has a problem getting paint.
Exactly. Yep.
Which means you got to switch to Benjamin Moore, which puts a demand on Benjamin Moore, who's not prepared for the demand surge. So they've got to go into production mode, and they're afraid to go in production mode because Sherwin-Williams will come back online and their demand will drop. So they can't gear up. It's a paralysis situation.
It's funny to watch too, what's going on. Like in November, we had a shortage in appliances. So we may have closed some homes with small refrigerators, and then it became windows, and we got windows, and it became rafters. It's just kind of interesting to watch. Like you said, there's something that happened that made that shortage, the supply slow down.
Mm-hmm. So give me an example of, you're in the same situation we're in. You've got a listing. There's multiple buyers. Give me some absurd examples of how many offers you've had on some inventory houses.
I can't tell you that, but I can tell you on the release dates, it's amazing. I can't experience it. We'll shut our offices down. And as these homes, the reservation releases are happening live, you can see everybody posting on them that have ready, willing, and able customers that are more than qualified. So it's very emotional for everybody, watching the buyers in the background needing a home, or our realtor partners wanting homes, and there's just not enough.
Wow.
But I do always say if they're patient, and I'm sure like you guys out there, if you just keep being patient and trust in me, we can find the home for you. Either it's resale or new homes, your agents will find them a home. And that's why I try to let the customers know, if you're open to, let's narrow it down to the floor plan, let's narrow it down to, what area of town you're okay with, we'll find that home for you.
So what about to-be-builts? Can I buy a lot or reserve a lot and pick the house I want on it?
No, we don't do that. We pre-select, especially in this market, because of permitting. We have, permitting all these homes ahead of time and picking the colors even, of course.
So I can't even pick the color of my house.
You cannot. We're picking the most trending colors though. We have the gray carpet, gray tile. Most of the communities now have granite and stainless steel. So we're putting in the most desirable options that people are wanting most.
Right. Wow. What a paradigm shift. Because, it wasn't too many years ago, you could go to Lennar and they'd open a thing and say, well, I like this lot with this premium and I'd like to put this model on it.
Oh yeah.
And now it's, you guys are coming in, you're picking the floor plan that's going to go on this lot in advance. You're building it and you're not releasing it until what stage?
I can't, it changes. Sometimes between, 2 and 4 stage is what I've been seeing. So that's about halfway through. 12 is completed. And I think closings right now on our homes that I have been seeing, of course it changes as we go later into the weeks, but September through October, November timeframe is what we're seeing closings right now on my releases.
Wow.
So people can still get in for their homestead exemption, which is kind of nice.
So we're 4 or 5 months to close on a house that's already halfway done.
Correct.
Wow.
And
Guys, you got to know this stuff to set the expectations with your buyers.
And there is a few, like I had a guy the other day that we were getting it in by, within 30 days. So you have to be proactive. And that's another thing. I think, we get tired and we forget to show up. Just meet with these folks, get them in the door, show them the home, and your new home consultant will help you out. Just bring them. Either it's with me or another new home consultant. We have great agents and we'll help you.
So how does it work with Lennar? Refresh us. So if I go to you, I can only buy in Cypress Mill, or can you help me in another community?
I can help you in all in our communities, which is nice. So you don't,
because what I said to the agents before you got online is one of the things we talked about at our sales meeting the other day was to build rapport with the listing agent or the new home builder agent, right? So you have a relationship with some agents, right? That you're able to give them information.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're top of mind, right?
Absolutely. If I have something great, I can text them immediately, which is nice.
Cool. So price wise, why are they not releasing the homes until they're halfway done?
I think just expectations of getting it done, and you don't know until, I think you can pre-plan what's going on. Resources are fully committed, so you want to make sure that we can get these homes done or get the supplies, and that's how I feel.
Does it have anything to do with pricing? Because I've been involved with a lot of new construction lately, and we sold a house. This is a real life scenario. We sold a house for $750 a year ago, and that house is now worth $950. There's no kidding.
Wow.
And the cost that we expected it to cost when we sold it for $750 came in more like $850. So the builder's literally screwed. He sold a house for $750. It cost him $850 to build, and the buyer, it's worth $950.
Yeah.
So the buyer's saying, build my house. And the seller's saying, no, I'm not going to build your house, which he has a contract, which is a problem. But that's going on in the industry. So the costs have been so much higher. So how's Lennar handling? So they're not even telling you prices yet.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that is correct. So that's why we're only committing to releasing that home. We have that reservation list, but say my customer that's been on a reservation with that VIP, say it gets released today, that's today I give them the price. So I think you're right. Knowing that we can close this home in 3 months, we can project probably what the prices we hope will be. At least we can cover our supplies at that point. If you're doing
how are you handling appraisals?
So we're not reducing the price. It's supply and demand. So when a customer comes in and they sign a contract for $350, that's what they thought the home was worth, and we sold it for. So we're not going to reduce the price. On a conventional loan, they'll have to pay the difference. FHA or VA, we can't hold them to it, but we're not going to reduce the price at this time.
So there's hope in that case. So if it's an FHA or VA and it doesn't appraise and the buyer can't come up with the cash, then that becomes a back on market.
Correct. That's inventory.
And then you can.
I haven't seen that happen very often. Used to, when they would have fallouts quite a bit, people couldn't get their loan documents, they couldn't pull it together. I'm amazed, and it's taught me a lesson on watching, again, we hold ourselves back, watching how people can submit their loan documents even before they have a home, or putting substantial deposits down. I remember in the day, and I know you remember this, $500 deposits. We're not doing that anymore. And it's amazing how people don't even think about it, putting, the initial deposit down of 3.5% or 1%, whatever it may be on a VA loan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy times. And this is going to change back again. Right. But we just have to, my dad took me on a cruise when I was a kid, and one of the saying, or my mom and dad did. And it was, guess what? Now what? This whole speaker, this whole book on this concept. Guess what? You're in a seller's market with high demand. Now what? Tell your buyers to prepare, I mean,
Yes.
just the thought of paying $90,000 or $100,000 over asking price is a scary thought,
And they're doing it.
and they
Yeah,
are.
I try to remember that every day. I've been doing this for a while. To take it while it's there and just, it's the stress is now, but it'll be okay. It's a different type of stress. Too much work but you just take it.
Right.
One time next we'll be begging for business. All of us.
Brian says, I've been waiting on white paint for 3 weeks. Crazy. John says, so to confirm with FHA or VA loan, if the appraisal is low, the buyer loses out. Well,
The contract, well, it's up to them at that point. It's just like on a resale. Lennar could, they're not going to, but they could reduce the price. Buyer can bring the difference, or you can cancel the contract.
and get your money back.
Yeah.
Because the VA addendum says you can't keep their deposit if it doesn't appraise. So in this market, your VA and FHA buyers are 100% disadvantaged.
Yes, but to be honest, I have only experienced one home short on appraisal, and that was in the very beginning. Maybe I've just been fortunate, but I haven't
Wow.
experienced that yet.
Well, what have you seen? Give us an example of like a price increase on a particular model in the last year.
Sometimes, we won't have really, but 20% price increase on the home site premium weekly. And I have seen as much as $23,000 in my area on, price increases. But it's, like this last week, we had a pretty good extent, I think, $2,500 to $5,000. Then it'll have a lull, it kind of catches up, I guess, with supply and demand. You have to, like you said, you got to juggle what's going on in the market or supplies to keep up.
Do you have any concept, like for you, how many sales are you for the year right now? Do you know?
Probably about 50, I would think.
50 sales halfway through the year.
And I'm usually about 74 to 85 a year.
Okay. So you're trending to do about 15% more than you did last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
We could do more.
What about labor? Last thing we'll talk about, because we're almost at the 9:30 hour, but are you
Labor.
guys struggling with labor?
Oh, absolutely. Of course. But those construction teams are out there, the trade partners, any day of the week, you can see them out there working 7 days a week, which
Yep.
is nice. But they definitely are working hard.
Well, they're working hard. They're getting paid more too, which is another reason prices are going up. So Tarina, I want to thank you, because I just think for me, awareness is the key. So if our agents are aware of what's really going on in the marketplace, they can communicate that to the buyers and sellers and set proper expectations, because it's not like it used to be right now. I mean, it used to be you could walk in and you guys would greet us and be happy to see us because you needed a sale. And now it's like, I've got so many people. Before we go though, let's talk about the reservation list. So how many reservations will you take on one particular house?
One
One.
reservation per home. So,
And it's a reservation for a home that we don't even know the price. We know the price range.
we know the price today, and that's what I can do is weekly let them know, hey, we had a price increase this week. This is the price. I have not had but one person not move forward during this pandemic, but they're not obligated until the price is released to them on that day. So then they have the option, you move forward or you don't, so it's nice. You're not obligated. Another thing, Craig, I want to mention too before we go, there's with the pandemic still, we're working by appointments only. So just make sure you reach out to your new home consultant to schedule a time to come in, and they can meet you at any community. What I always do is meet them at Lennar at Cypress Mill. We show them a couple floor plans that could possibly fit in their price points and, the communities. And then we kind of talk about, what the next process would be. Kind of makes it easy. An hour and a half is all you need, really.
Okay. All right. So Sonia just typed in, with only a 1% commission from Lennar, I'd rather work with a resale homeowner that pays more. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you here today, because you're not just paying 1%. You're paying 1% on the first sale, which I don't understand why, but it is what it is. But the second sale is 3% and the third sale is 4%.
Correct.
Right. So the thing is, it's like paying your dues. Go get one, get paid, and then go get another one, and you got 3%. Then you get a whole bunch of inventory coming your way.
And what
'Cause
we
guys-
want We want
Right.
the repeat realtors that are coming that know how we work and we can work as a team. Maybe that's why it is. I don't know what corporate's, decision is to do that, but I do know it's been very successful. And why would you not just sell that first one to get to the 3%? It's, I don't know what general real estate is paying, what the resales are, but I know they've lowered their commission too. At least if you get that first one over, you're at 4% in no time on the third sell. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, 4% is a great price if you have the inventory.
Yes, and we will have it.
You're not going to stop building, right?
I'm not stopping building.
Okay. All right, guys, it is 9:31. Today is Friday. Tarina, thank you for your attention today. This is 4th of July weekend. Very exciting. So had a nice little rainstorm this morning. So have a very safe and happy 4th of July. Safe is the important part because, don't sit on any fireworks. And send good thoughts to my puppy, Lily, for her 10th birthday today. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody. Happy Friday. Bye, Trina.
Bye.
Mike says rentals are also low inventory. Yeah, Mike, I've got a whole list of that. I just pulled a couple of zip codes the other day. There's only 5 rentals in 33572. The cheapest one's $1,850 a month. And that's not going to be nice. Let's see. 33511. Brandon. Only 3 rentals available in the entire town of Brandon. $1,850. Cheapest house to rent. Crazy. Thank you, Jamie. Okay, guys. Happy Friday. Oh, Sonia's got a rental for $4,000 a month with furnished. 433.